on right here on OGTV, the People's Daily. It's the interview segment, and we want to take a look at the 2027 general elections. Now, you will say that, yes, we're not in 2027, and the election is not holding yet, so why are we discussing it? Well, even though we are not in 2027 and the elections are not here, quite a number of things are actually happening already, which can be regarded as build-ups to the 2027 general elections. And so as they unfold, really, we need to be taking a look at them, really, and then bring them to you so that you can have better understanding of all of these. Some of them really, or one of them is actually the continuous voters registration that INEC has actually begun, as a matter of fact, and which will last till about April. And we are going to be looking at how we can really, counter or tackle the issue of underage registration, really, which has actually, been part of the menace in that regard. Then we are also going to be looking at the electronic transmission of results, which has actually been the bone of contention in the last couple of days after the National Assembly actually passed the Electoral Act, really, without an approval, really, on electronic transmission of results from polling units. These are minimum we are going to be looking at in the next couple of minutes, and we've been joined in the studio by two guests who definitely will be doing justice to the topic. For my immediate right is Bayo Labode, a current affairs journalist. Thank you so much for your time with us this morning.
Thank you, Dominic. Pleasure to meet you.
And to complete the team is Ustaz Jibril Lawal, a public commentator. Thank you so much for coming.
Dominic, good morning. It's a pleasure being here. Everywhere at home, good morning to all of us.
I'll be doing this with my colleague, Moses.
Okay, thank you so much. It's a new dawn, of course, for the main interview segment. Interestingly, yesterday, INEC proposed 873.78 billion for 2027 elections, allocate over 200 billion naira for election technology. We heard from the INEC chairman, Professor Joash, Amupiton, who presented the proposed budget before the Senate and House of Representatives. Okay, let me start with Ustaz Jibril Lawal. This talk about, we need to transmit on real time. Then the Senate saying, well, there must be an option, particularly for areas that lack, internet, connectivity. Okay, let me get your view. Which side do you belong? Do you have the capacity to transmit in real time, electronically, or not?
Thank you so much. Once again, it's a pleasure being here. Once again to discuss Nigeria. It's a pleasure discussing Nigeria. And I think all of us have passion discussing the country. Maybe because those of us in our Gen, whatever they call it, we're not Gen Z anyway, people in 60s upward, 50 upward, realize that where we want to go to start all over again. So we need to make Nigeria to be good. So we are always happy, passionate discussing Nigeria, and this is what we're doing this morning. Regarding your question, I am for what is going to sustain Nigeria. I am for what will not cause chaos, confusion. That's what I'm for. And I think what the Senate has done is something that will not give us chaos going into the future. The way things are, I've been trying to look at where in the world we have real-time result transmission. In Nigeria, it's not possible to have real-time. And I think there are a lot of issues people don't seem to understand. I've been engaged in quite a number of discussions on these, on other platforms. What I've discovered is that people don't seem to have a good grasp of what they are talking about when we talk of real-time. Our election is not electronically conducted. We're doing, we start with accreditation. You can see it's electronically done. Then move ahead to vote manually after you have done your accreditation. So you can't vote manually and you say you want real-time transfer of the results. Real-time, in my definition of understanding of that word, is as you are casting your vote, it's reflecting on a server somewhere, and people are seeing the result as you are casting your vote. I got there, I casted my vote for Party A. Party A to court 1. You get there, you vote for Party B. Party B reflects 1 on that server. You get there, you vote for Party C. Party C reflects 1. That to me is real time. As you are doing it, you are seeing it is real time. That cannot work in Nigeria, and that's honest truth. There are a lot of gatekeeping that we need to go through. You are going from your polling booth to your ward, the Kukobe, etc., before the national collation. So that can't work. So I am not for that. I am for, well, if you can call it electronic storage, that's the word I've used. That you want INEC to have all the results, as recorded on the hard copy. You want it to be on soft copy or electronically backed up. I am for that, which I think what you have now, what you had in 2023, solved that problem. It answers the question. After the election, after the results have been announced, everybody signed the form EC4, whatever they call it, is pasted on the wall of your polling unit, the polling booth, and every agent has then the PO, the side officer, scan with his IRF, the beavers, and get a picture onto the IRF, which eventually get to the back-end server of INEC. So anytime they need the e-copy, they can just recall it. I'm for that. But for you now, to say every result that they announce must be based on the, on what is an IRF, we might not get results in 7-8 days. So I am not for that. I am for the system as, the law as passed by INEC. And a lot of controversy have been there, a lot of things have been said. But I know as a Nigerian who are voting since early 80s that there are tremendous improvements in our election process.
Okay.
Let me stop there.
Okay, now to Sabayo Olabode, current affairs analyst. Clause 60, subsection 3 of the version passed by the House of Representatives stated that the Commission shall electronically transmit the results from each polling unit to the IRF portal in real time, and such transmission shall be done simultaneously with the physical collation of results. And of course, the one Senate part is slightly different, and that's what Ustaz Jubilawa just talked about. So let me also get your view on this, because some would say, oh, if you could do digital banking, online banking, and now when it comes to transmission of results, because don't forget that the presiding officer will still fill the form EC8A. That we know. I think what many Nigerians are saying, we don't have e-voting, So, but after filling that form, let it be uploaded on the IRF portal. Not if this after we'll still be seeing uploading, that is still loading. So, what's your take?
Thank you, Dominic, and let me start again by condoning the staff and management of OGTV for their loss, and I pray that the family of Akintunde will have the fortitude to bear the loss. So the matter at hand, I think Ustaz has done very great justice in laying the groundwork for it. What works is what we should be pursuing in Nigeria, and not semantics, because the wordings of what the Senate passed with what works are two different entities. If we'll be factual with ourselves, this is Nigeria. There are times in which you send an SMS to somebody and he tells you that you didn't even see it. And it could take another 3-4 days, and then you see maybe it has actually returned on your phone, or it is telling you it has just delivered. So we have these issues that we are still grasping with as a nation. And we are not there yet for the e-transmission, just as Ustaz said, because there are lots of factors. Number one, because of our terrains. Even I'm not sure if any of the network providers can conveniently and confidently say that they have the whole country blanketed, that you won't have interferences with network. There are places you get to, for crying out loud, where you can make calls. And let's not forget those who are alluding to the fact that we can do banking and e-transfer. Those are also still fraught with a lot of challenges today. But you see, when people begin to cry out the loudest, is because maybe it is not in their best interest. This is Nigeria. We know ourselves. Let's not pretend. There are still a lot of groundwork to be done for us to get to that place where advanced countries are. And let's not try to form big man when we are not there yet. Somebody said the biggest room on earth is the room for improvement.
there's room for us to improve and get to where we are going. That's why I lean heavily on what Ustaz said. We've made strides which are commendable over the years in our electoral process. And from here going forward, as we continue to engage with the process, we can only fine-tune it better and better. But it's like climbing a ladder. You must not skip some part of the runs, otherwise you come crashing down.
Now, Ustaz, I know that part of the complaints of the Independent National Electoral Commission in 2023 general election was not that certain places in the country does not have a network service. That was not the complaint. As a matter of fact, INEC said they had to put off or turn off the server because they suspected that some people were trying to attack the server, as a matter of fact. And I'm sure that before INEC would have concluded that they wanted to do e-transmission in 2023, as a matter of fact, they would have considered all of those rural communities where we might actually have challenges with network problem or power problem and the rest of them. So the issue of network, do you think challenges? Do you think that should really come to play? Really, do you think we are not? I mean, do you think that the issue of network should come into play? I mean,
yeah, thank you. I think it depends on our objective. I won't want to dwell on whether INEC give reason of network failure as a major challenge in 2023. You all know 2023 was. I kept on telling people, thank God we missed our bullet. It was a terrible election year for all of us. So I think that was our first time we were voting in Nigeria, that 2023. But thank God we missed our bullet. I kept on telling people. I don't want to dwell on what INEC said or did not say. I want to talk on, based on reality that we have on our hands and what I think will work well, trying to use that as language. Practicality. Network challenge is in Nigeria. I don't need INEC to come and tell me that. I know we have network issues in Nigeria. Even in so-called urban areas, we have serious network issues. So-called urban areas. That is number one. Not talk of the interior, where in some places you need to climb on hill or look for the highest part of the topography before you make call. We can't deny that it is happening. Even in those states. I don't want to start mentioning places, but I know in Lagos State there are places you get to. You don't
but the people who made these proposals in the first place, do you think they did not put all of those things into consideration? So the Nigerians.
I'm happy that we are speaking for the other side. It's necessary for us to balance this and to have this discussion. The truth about that is we need to know what led to Professor Yakubu coming up with that idea. It was Professor Yakubu's idea. It was not a law thing. And that was why the Supreme Court rejected it outright. That look, this is not in our law. Yes, it is in the regulatory guidelines of INEC, but the regulatory guidelines of INEC is not a law of Nigeria. And why did he come up with it? He was making an attempt to be a bit transparent, to make, well, look, we are going to be as honest as we are going to be. And they tried it in several off-cycle elections. I think it was Nanambra, they tried it, they did in Osun, and I think Ekiti there. And they saw the way it worked.
And the result was excellent. That was why we brought it to the general election.
Wait, now, I'm getting there. The result was excellent. Now, the result was excellent when you look at the space and the volume of data being transmitted from those areas. And don't forget that it was not as if everything was done one-off, as you are doing it, you got it. You see, when you say there is no network, if you send a message, or if you are traveling, try it, send a message on your phone, or you are chatting. At the point, your message is not dropping. In the course of your movement, your message will drop. Because as you are going, the signal is fluctuating. So the PO that has loaded the beaver, with the result going to IRF, will leave his position and will move. As he's moving, the result will keep on coming up. Now, imagine when we have heavy load on the network. And let me tell you how this thing works practically. I have some technical experience. Those things we call network and data, they have number of things they can take at a particular time. If a platform is meant to take plus or minus maybe 1,000 calls at a point in time, then you load about 2,000 calls. It will be taking them 1,000 Club Valley. That was the challenge we had in 2023. That was why suddenly the space was cramped up. Everybody, election has completed, has been completed in areas, and everybody wanted to load. So definitely there will be a slowdown on the system. That is given. It's not just in Nigeria, it happens everywhere. When there is emergency, even so-called advanced lines, when you have emergency and everybody has to eat the network with their calls, you see that suddenly network will collapse because almost everybody wants to get through.
But it depends on the framework here, because not forget that the Nigerian Society of Engineers said it is possible, and they gave examples of using secure electronic systems, technologies such as cellular, 4G, 5G, satellite links, and offline data caching. The Nigerian Society of Engineers.
Offline data catching, underline that.
Yes.
That is not what we are asking for here. You see what you have said, nobody has said it's not possible. Because in 2023 we have done it. But what we are saying is that people say, we want to see real time. As I didn't want to see it straight away. That is not possible. And they are saying result announcement should be based on that. I don't want to get technicalities. It is not as if Senate said don't do it. But where they said result announcement must be based on that whatever is on the IRF must not be used as a basis of result. That's where the challenge comes from. And that's why they have to come up with that clause. That, okay, where there is network challenge, use the Formula C8. Because we realize that Senate tries to balance up. Because it is whatever is on the IRF that INEC must use to announce the result, the final collation. That's what we are saying. And Senate, okay, fine, we'll do that, let's put it. But let's put, a clause.
I don't think that's really the argument of the proponents, really, of this.
What is the argument?
The argument is whatever is on IREV, compare it with what is on the paper, and then declare that. Don't come and announce what is on it, because we know that a lot of things can happen between the polling unit and the collation center on the paper.
Yes.
So if you are declaring anything that is on the paper, ensure that what you are declaring on the paper is in sync with what is on the IRF. That's what a lot of the proponents of these are saying.
Then what brought in the real-time thing?
The real time.
What does the real time?
The real time is not when you vote and then you should go into all these things. The real time is when you finish voting and you have entered everything, you've counted, you've entered everything. Snap and upload right from the polling unit. Right from the polling unit, you upload that server.
What were you doing before?
And you see,
what were you doing before?
In 2023?
Yes, what did you do in 2023?
It did not happen in 2023. It happened because there was a glitch. Even INEC came out to say there was a glitch. And
what did not happen? What did not happen? Let's get it clear.
It was like 2-3 days after that most of the results from the polling units. Hold on.
One by one.
Hold on. Yes. It was 2 days or 3 days after the election day that most of the results from the polling units, got to the IREV. It was supposed to get to IREV on that particular day. Later, maybe 1 hour after it was sent.
Why did you not get to the IREV?
Because even INEC itself said that it had to shut the server because it suspected that some people were planning to attack its server.
How did that not happen in 2023?
It happened. No, it did not happen.
It happened.
It did not happen. And then people were saying, the process of engineers were saying, INEC did not come out to show us evidence of
I am coming to say, really, if you wait, in law, not in law, what happened was that INEC staff at the polling unit, various polling units, snapped and uploaded. That happened.
It didn't deliver. It was made.
One by one. Are you agreeing with me that they did that at the polling unit? They snapped at the polling unit.
They snapped.
Yes. The answer is yes.
They snapped and the answer is attempted to upload. It ended up
now. The answer is it happened. They snapped at the polling booth. Did it happen that way?
Yes, it happened.
Yes, so that happened. That means that the condition of the law has been satisfied. Now, what it happened, it has been satisfied because it was snapped and sent. Then it has not reached the server. It's second stage. For the first condition of let the PO snap and upload, we're satisfied at all polling units. But NX now said, yes, at the point we closed the server, It does not mean that it has not happened. It has happened. But we still discover
in some places it did not happen anyways. It did not happen in some places.
We can't prove that. But what I'm trying to say is, let me tell you what I'm trying to say. Why we needed to explain this clearly. The Nigerian set of engineers are not being honest with us with their statement. They went on to say offline. If it is offline, it can't be real time again. I'm sure you know that.
That's true.
It can be real time again. So people are not being honest with this argument. No. What I think we all need to do is, what we want is integrity. Is it not so? Now let's look at the process of our election. Even without the beavers, without the IRF thing, let's look at, the process of election. At every polling unit, every party has agents. Is that taken? Mm-hmm. You have provided that every agent must witness the counting, which will be done publicly. And that after the counting, it is recorded in a particular form, and every agent must sign. The law has provided for that. Which other integrity and openness are we looking for?
But there is more to that, because we've also had situations where agents have cried foul, have said, have raised alarm that no, what we had in the polling unit is different from what has been announced at the collation center.
Is that provision in the law?
Is that what?
Is that provision in our law to counter that?
To counter that?
Yes.
Yes, there is provision.
So follow it up. Because I have asked people, if what is on your EC4, and sometimes ECH form, wait, ECH form is different from what's on the beaver.
So sometimes we know that even some agents can be bought, and so in order to reduce, let me come to
agents can be bought. It just means that the form that will be uploaded into IRF through by beavers, the agent will have been bought and the figure will have changed. Am I in that?
No, that's the polling unit. It will be. I'm saying that will not happen in the polling unit. Why? Because you have most of the voters there. If the app it will be agent. It's easier to buy an agent. It's easier to buy an agent.
Who is going to eventually sign?
It is easier to buy an agent than to buy an entire voter of a particular candidate. But let me come to Mr. Bayo Olabode. Now, the bone of contention here is transparency and accountability. That's the bone of contention. It's because the previous process is not really transparent enough. That's why quite a lot of persons are saying, yes, let's have something that right from the polling unit you send, and then yes, if you are now trying to collate and the rest of them announce, what you are announcing should be in sync with what has been sent to the right from the polling unit. Now, this has actually been removed, and quite a lot of persons, and you have said that our clients may not permit us to have this electronic transmission. Now, do you think we can achieve, that 80%, if not 100%, that 80%, 85% of transparency in the current arrangement that will make people to start trusting, the Independent Electoral Commission, and of course, even our electoral process?
Number one, I've seen your exchanges with Ustaz, and there are a few things I want to chip in before as we go forward. Now, you see, there's number one, the disconnect between government and the governed. I think it is not only in Nigeria, it is the world over. People do not trust their leaders, and this is based on precedents. There have been lots of broken promises. There have been lots of disalignment between the led and the leaders. So this disconnect has festered over time, and it has spilled into virtually every sector. If you ask the average Nigerian today that this and this is how much Moses was rolling out the data for the election cycle of next year, the average Nigerian will just tell you, I can tell you that for free, of course, because there's a disconnect between the governed and the government, and we've seen this fester. What government can do is, number one, make INEC truly independent. INEC must be truly independent, but you see, he that pays the piper dictates the tune. The government is still the one funding it. Government is still the one nominating. Government still has a grip on INEC till tomorrow morning. So what we have to do is build trust back in the system, and it can't be overnight. It's like somebody who has lost faith with you and is returning back into your circle. You tread carefully with such individuals. So there has to be systematic and incremental building of trust in our election system. And it has to be, number one, the transparency that we are talking about. Number two that I'm coming to is the semantics. There's a lot of nuance and ambiguity in the statement. Ustaz is very, very correct in what he said, because I happen to be a language person too. Now, if you are talking of something that is offline, it can't be real time. Like they say in the West, it is what it is. If it can't be offline, it can't be real time. So we have to take care of these little loopholes that exist in forms of semantics, and then marry it with what is workable to us. Now let's shut the door. While we look at the advanced worlds and other democracies for inspiration, let's face reality. This is Nigeria, a place like Adamawa that is high up on the hill. If you've been there before, the Plateau State is also high up on the hill. Their terrains cannot be compared to Ogun. Now, exactly 9 days ago, I was in Kano, and I was trying to make a course. I discovered that in Kano, I'm talking about the heart of Sabungeri, trying to make a course to. I discovered I had to leave that particular location to buttress what we are talking about. So, to make a long story short, what we need to do is, number one, build trust, build integrity, and it has to be incremental. INEC needs to be truly independent on its own. I don't know how we would achieve that, but then it has to be free from the clutches of government. The way we are smiling, I'm sure you are looking at how would that be possible. Let's also understand that what I see happen for federal elections, of course, the federal government comes in. For state elections, the states have control over that. But then we must also open the space up for independent observers to come in, those who are credible, so that the narrative becomes your party, my party, independent, and then they're like a triangle. Once it is 2 to 1, it becomes very, very clear that this is the right thing. This person is only crying wolf when there is no wolf. And let me say this as I round up. I think in virtually most democracies today, people find it difficult to concede defeat. I think that is part of the human nature. People are just sore losers. You find out that the people who truly lost will not admit to losing. But let us also have it at the back of our mind that everybody is trying to game the system. I can tell you this for free. I've sat down and thought about it. I believe what happened in 2015 was that people took advantage of the system and gamed it. And it was under the same Professor Yakubu. Yes. They took advantage of the system and it was gamed. We don't have time to go into that, but I took time to look into that. But we must keep making it difficult to cheat, which is one of the phrases I borrowed from the last election that held in America in 2024. Make it hard to cheat, so that people do not game the system with impunity, without some level. I mean, it's just like somebody trying to break into your house. You make it as difficult as possible for him to break into it.
Okay. Well, making it hard to cheat, I think it's hard to see us do that without an electronic transmission in real time, without e-voting. And yeah, you said no country, no transmit, no real time. I know Kenya does that. In fact, as far back as 2022, they did that.
Voting real time.
Yeah, voting real time. Okay, though Kenya, Brazil, India, they have adopted no e-voting. But this is my question.
When they are voting, you see the results online as it's displaying.
Well, they transmit real time. And Kenya, yes, there were glitches, but at least it's recorded 90% success as about 2022. But INEC itself has noted that 2G, 3G, or 4G mobile technology is sufficient to transmit. And even basic network tech can be used when faster coverage isn't available. And Nigerians are concerned that INEC is not even telling us that, oh, we cannot do this. There's been the Senate the lawmakers saying, oh, we don't have the capacity and all of that. But whereas INEC did tell us that to upload, you just like 2 kilobytes, you need like 3 kilobytes, and making calls. So, and areas where we do not have, for example, I know the device called wire, that's very powerful, that can draw, network in remote places. And Nigeria is not even the biggest country in Africa. So maybe before we leave that and talk about underage registration, the engineers, the tech experts are saying what is being done in Kenya, we can also do it here. This real time can be done here. And this is before it reacts to add to what you have said. So we can say the real time, from ECA, then you upload with no glitches this time around. Because I know you said it's similar to what we had in 2023.
And to add to what you have said, to have to before it reacts. Now, you were talking about emergencies when so many persons are trying to do a particular thing, then definitely there will be glitch. But engineers have come out to say sometimes you stress test your facility even before the day and thinking, what if 12 billion people are trying to access this particular thing? What will happen to it? You stress test.
There are payment platforms where thousands, millions of people are paying daily, and there are no glitches.
They don't experience
So can you speak to this, and then we move on to underage registration?
I don't want to make this to be myself versus you people. That is the people in the gentocracy to people in the Gen Z. I'm coming. Let me say why I said that. Now, what is in the Senate? What Senate has passed I don't like? Maybe if I understand that. Senate, what I understand Senate is this. What it passes. Look, we allow that this thing, snap it, send it. But where there are problems, let's use this paper. What don't you like in that?
What don't you like in that? No. That will give room for manipulation, because how do you explain where there are problems? So anybody could come and say, oh, there's no network. How do you then determine if there is a network or not?
No.
Because Nigeria,
I got that. But you people brought us to this level. Let me go there. You brought us to this level. This two-tier of election transition, you brought us there. So let's leave that. When you are making law, you don't make law to be 100% foolproof. In law, when you are making law for the people, you give, okay, in case this doesn't work, let's use this. That's how law is made anywhere in the world. So if you ask me, the Senate is in order. Now, to your question of people can come in and manipulate, he has answered that question. That what we need to do is to build more trust. If you build more trust, some of these things that we're looking at that is impossible will not be a problem.
But that will not be served a la carte. That will not be given freely.
Yes, we can work towards that. So what I've said is, and I want our listeners at home and all of us to take note of this, the kind of position the Senate has taken with the law is a perfect law situation for anything called humanity. You don't lock everything up. You don't lock it and throw away the key. You give opportunity for, in case this happens, let's do it this way. That's what the law have done, and I think that to me is perfectly in order, going forward. However, I agree with you that there will be chaos.
Yes.
In that, who determines where there is no network, and that is where the issue of the trust comes in, like I just said. So we just need to trust the system and trust the person and trust the person we have assigned with the role, because that is the only way as humanity that we can live and live perfectly well. But when we say we want to lock up everything and said engineers have said this, engineers have said that, it doesn't work in all situations. And finally, we argue with our banks. I have sent money that did not deliver, and I did not get my return until about 7 days or thereafter. Later, it still happens as I'm talking. It will happen tomorrow. It will happen next tomorrow.
So even with those banks of the bank you're using,
all the banks have that.
That's relative. My bank does not have that chance.
What was that bank?
For commercial sake, I wouldn't want to mention. We don't have to mention.
We have to use now. I want to mention my home.
No, yes, I work with a speed of like you have to trust me. I have it, but there are banks with
fintech 3 days ago. Fintech. My wife sent money on fintech. This your fintech. It is not deliver. Later it has to be returned. Second day. I know what I'm saying. There is no bank in Nigeria that does not have that problem.
She transferred to a fintech bank, right?
From a fintech platform to a normal to come out.
So the default will be the conventional.
Yeah.
Fintech.
Anyway, let me comment please and weigh on this. Number one, since Moses has been the fact checker. Moses, Nigeria is the largest country in Africa.
Yes.
You said, so let us take that so that we can educate the people at home.
Yeah, but not the largest in the world.
No, you said Africa. I'm checking you.
No, because I said Brazil, for example.
You didn't mention Brazil. When you were talking, hold on. What you said that I have issues with that. Nigeria is not the largest country in Africa. I wanted him to just know that was a slip of the tongue.
No, I meant by landmass. Pardon me.
You didn't put it back.
I meant by landmass.
Now, secondly, let me get to so that our time doesn't eat up. Now, we can't have what is called one size fits all.
Yes.
Let's please. You can't have one size fits all. It's not rational. It doesn't make common sense. It's not logical. There are usually exceptions to the norm. And this is where we have run into problems. Now, we also know that Nigeria happens. Am I talking? This is what should be. But we have situations in which it didn't be. Let me use both local and conventional English. This is what should be, but it didn't be. And we have that time and again. I'm corroborating what you said. I bought power. I won't mention the name of the bank so I don't get into troubles with them. As of today, this is 3 months going now. I have not been able to buy to get access to the power I bought. Neither have I seen my return. And I'm looking at the amount involved is not what will take me to the bank town, and then I'm just waiting for when it's convenient. From these things happen. If you sample Nigerians, what is one? It will be 4 out of every 10 will tell you that these are issues that we deal with today. And then to play the ostrich will just be foolhardy for us.
No, but really, some persons will say that before now, it has always been, they have always locked the electoral process before now, and anything that happens outside what we are provided for, the election result is cancelled, and then
has been locked.
They have always locked it. I mean, they have always
had to understand it.
No, they have always had that procedure. Do election if there is a disruption, if there is any ballot box snatching, you cancel that election, and then they go back to So when we say okay, everybody should transmit. Now, if there is now glitch, we can now have the election on the following day or on another day. Really?
Why?
No, if there is glitch, I'm sorry, if there is network problem in that area.
Network problem is not fundamental to the result of the election. The result is there already. Votes have been casted. Result, everything is in order. We all have it. So that we cannot transmit is not fundamental enough for we want to cancel the election. So we can't compare the two.
I quite agree.
Okay, well, the second leg of our conversation, our time is fast spent, that's underage, registration. And that has also become an age-long problem. How do we solve this when we have no data? Particularly in some places where even the INEC officer cannot see the face, of the intending, voter.
Want me to start up?
Yeah, let me learn from you.
Oh, okay. I've enjoyed this discussion.
Thank you, because when I saw the topic, this was one area I've been waiting for.
Okay.
I spent a good part of my adult life in the North, Kano in particular, Zaria. And in the build-up to the 2015 election, and the election before that, which was 2011, I went to the polling booth that was closest to my house, and the people whom I saw that were registering, I found it very, very appalling. Very, very appalling, because underage voting was just too rampant.
Yeah.
And these were people who got their own voter card ahead of me. And I believe the INEC officials there were compromised, because it doesn't take rocket science to know that this person you are looking at, even if he's Arara, this one is no more than 7 years old. It got so bad that I'm sure in that crowd there were people who were 6 that came, and they came in their number. So this is incumbent on INEC to strengthen it, demography notwithstanding, because that kind of thing cannot fly in the southwest and in the southeast. I'm not trying to make a polarization of the country, but it can fly in certain areas, and that is because of because of the volatility of the area, number one, and because of precedence also. But I think it's incumbent on INEC to tighten this nose and deploy some of their best hands with security, of course, because I couldn't talk that day because, of course, in my own safety, I just kept my mouth shut.
Unfortunately, I think they are signaling us to pack our things and go. But let's quickly take your thoughts, really.
No, yeah, hit the nail on the head. But quickly, people have said they want to clean the register. Once they do that, we have a lot of technology that can help us now. For example, called NIN. JAMB is using it. So when they clean the register, I mean, you must have an NIN and migrate the data straight. I think it solves the problem going forward.
We must thank you, gentlemen, for your time with us this morning, taking a look at the 2027 general elections, the build-up really to that all-important big festival really of our democracy. We'll be speaking with Bayo Olabode, a current affairs, yes, the current affairs journalist. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for your time with us. And of course, Ustaz Jubril Lawal, public commentator, we thank you also for
Thanks for having me.
Yes, we've got to go. Thank you so much for watching.